Hello class, this is chapter 27. Now we are on part 4. And in this part 4 of chapter 27, I intend to look at the defenses that can be raised against the collection of a negotiable instrument. We're going to look first at universal defenses. I walked through them really briefly with you in the part 3 video, and I'm going to talk about 3 specifically. All right, so you have the universal defenses up here on the PowerPoint. The 3 that are of most interest, and I think you will see in problems, are as follows. Number 3 there, material alteration. Number 6, illegality. And number 7, incapacity. The others come up in various scenarios perhaps, but there's nothing terribly interesting, let's just say, or nothing that is requires you to pay specific attention to, as long as you understand what the others mean. All right. Number 1, forgery. Is someone forging a signature? Number 2 is fraud in the execution, which is in the initial signing of a document, defrauding someone at that moment. All right. Number 4, bankruptcy. That is always a good defense to payment. If someone is in bankruptcy and going to be discharged from bankruptcy. Minority, which is about age. You look to state law for a guidance. And then number 8, extreme duress, and only extreme duress, which means an immediate threat of violence, will be a defense to the payment of an instrument. Now, we're going to take a look at these 3 that are in bold type. Let me advance the slides here. All right, so we're going to look first at material alteration. I think my screen has blocked it, but here we go. Material alteration. What does that mean? If a change has been made to the instrument and that change is material, it changes the contract terms, then it will be used as a universal defense. It can be used as a universal defense, and it will be a complete defense against an ordinary holder, but it's only a partial defense against a holder in due course. This will underscore what I have been trying to get across to you as well, all right, that a holder in due course has a much more protected status. So since this is only a partial defense, the holder in due course may enforce the unaltered original terms of the instrument, whereas an ordinary holder will just not be able to collect anything. All right. So the holder in due course is going to get at least the original amount. That's what the short of this is. All right. So even if an instrument has been altered from, let's say, $90 to $900, all right, the holder in due course, faced with that defense that the instrument's been altered, can collect the original amount of $90. All right, let's move on and take a look at the next. Let me see if I can get this to advance. All right, let's look at illegality. With illegality, the defense goes like this, that the instrument has been issued in connection with illegal conduct. All right, and so if that's true, there's been some illegality connected to the instrument, then we have to look to state statute. Okay, what does the state law say will happen to that instrument? And if state law says the instrument is voided, it is not effective at all, the instrument is canceled. That is a universal defense then, and it will be good against a holder in due course. All right. If, however, state law doesn't say that, but state law says the instrument is voidable, all right, then the instrument can be canceled by the maker or by the drawer. Right? It's their choice whether they want to cancel. And so that is only a personal defense, which is only good against an ordinary holder, not going to be good against a holder in due course. All right. So it's a personal defense then. So you have to do that. When you hear the argument that, there's something illegal in the context of this instrument having been issued, and it doesn't have to be anything really, really nefarious. Maybe it just has to do with some violation of, I don't know, weights and measures. All right. Maybe someone sold wheat and they weighed it out on a scale that had not been calibrated correctly. All right, that's a violation. All right, that makes it for an illegal transaction. Maybe it was short the I don't know how many ounces, how many pounds of wheat that was supposed to be sold, and that could make then the transaction illegal, make the instrument illegal. We will check state statute to decide whether the instrument now is void or voidable. Right, going on. Let's look at this third ground that also has a little bit of nuance to it. So here, the argument is, the defense is that the person who signed the instrument lacked competency. They were not capable of understanding the transaction, or that they were signing an instrument and taking on liability. So in this particular situation, if that is raised as a defense, what do? You got to look for a court order that will determine whether or not the person was competent at the time they executed the instrument. If there is a court order already in place, all right, that says that someone is not competent, that they are incapable, in California, the proceeding would be a conservatorship. So if the courts have ordered someone to be placed under a conservatorship, then the argument of incapacity, the defense of incapacity, makes this a universal defense. Okay, this is a universal defense. Good against all holders, including a holder in due course. All right. If, however, there is no court order, the family of this person who is allegedly incompetent has not yet gone to court to establish a conservatorship, but they are just pointing out that, this family member is aged and doesn't always understand what's going on yet. They suspect that there could be something that is the matter, whether that, it's some kind of dementia, something like that, right? But there's no court order yet. If that's the case, then all we have is a personal defense, and that will only be good against an ordinary holder, not against a holder in due course, who will still be able to collect on the instrument. All right. So these are the differences I'm trying to point out to you about these three particular areas specifically, and we'll look at some problems to help us to process and apply what we're trying to look at. All right. Now, one last slide before I go look at the problem that I have planned for you. And this last slide, again, we have been over this previously. It is in your book on that chart that I showed you in part 3, right? I've just translated or transferred it to the slide, and you can kind of see the personal defenses laid out here on this one slide. All right. Again, like I said in the previous video, these strike me as being, and I do refer to them as kind of like your general contractual defenses. All right. All right, I'm going to switch out now to look at the business scenario problem 27-1. Let me switch out here, get this up on the screen for you. Here it is. Now take a look at this. They already highlight for you that we're going to use the material alteration defense. All right, so what's happened here? Williams purchased a used car from Stein for $1,000. Williams paid for the car with a check written in pencil, payable to Stein for $1,000. Stein, through careful erasures and alterations, changed the amount on the check to read $10,000, and he negotiated the check to Boz. Boz took the check for value in good faith and without notice of the alteration. He thus met the Uniform Commercial Code's requirements for the status of a holder in due course. Can Williams successfully raise the universal or real defense of material alteration to avoid payment on the check, and explain. All right. So, aside from this part about the pencil, using a pencil to write a check, all right, um, uh, it does tell you factually that Stein used careful erasures and alterations and was able to change the amount from $1,000 to $10,000. So that what they're trying to tell you there with the careful erasure and the careful alterations is that hard to tell. You could not tell that the check was not originally written for $10,000. All right. So knowing that, okay, and this check has now come into Boz's hands, and Boz has complied with the requirements to be a holder in due course. He's got no inkling that there's a problem with the check that he just accepted. All right. He's a holder in due course. He has protected status. Will Williams be able to raise this defense of material alteration? Well, he will be able to raise it. That is not the issue. All right. But what will Boz be able to collect here? All right. What did we learn about material alteration? A holder in due course may collect the original value of the check. All right. The original value was $1,000. So in this case, Boz is going to be able to collect the $1,000. That should demonstrate for you, should illustrate for you pretty well the protected status of a holder in due course. All right. We'll probably have another problem to look at. I'm going to make another video when I'm done with the last part of the chapter. And in that video, I will include one more business scenario problem as well as a reviewing problem, the reviewing problem. All right, so I will see you when I pick up again with part 5.